But we're going to do like Hammer. Let's get this party started. We're going to stand and face Jerusalem. Open up with the Ten Commandments. Brother James going to open it up. Brother Braswell going to be the reader. Go ahead, brother.
Happy Sabbath, house of Israel.
Happy Sabbath.
Right, we're going to read Exodus 20 commandments. And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquities of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generations of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me, and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. For the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor the cattle, nor the stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor, thou shalt not cover thy neighbor's house, thou shalt not cover thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. In Jesus' mighty holy name we praise. Amen.
Those are very, very good commandments, great commandments. They must be read before every class, because a lot of times people that's tuning in or people out in the world might scroll by our website or YouTube page, Facebook page, and they hear those commandments for the first time. So very important. I know repetitious for us, but it's just for us being repetitious. A lot of people don't even hear the commandments till the Sabbath day or one of the Israelites read it. That's it. They don't even know them. I'm still waiting on somebody to take my $100. But anyway, we're going to get right to the lesson. The title is Black History According to the Prophets, semicolon, the gifts on the ship. The gifts on the ship. The reason why I titled this is because when the Gentiles came in the transatlantic slave trade to get the Israelites, which are the so-called African American or the Negroes, they didn't just get ignorant slaves or dumb slaves. They got engineers, they got doctors, they got architects, they got all these gifts that these Israelites has. But they just want to show us about this history that's in America, where we at now, about a basketball, by Martin Luther King, by Michael Jordan, by Medgar Evers, and all that stuff. Our history started way before then. And we got a much richer history than just on these slave shores in America and scattered all over the world. If we don't teach the story and tell the story, won't nobody will. So, I give all honor to the elders that taught me, because I ain't think it was that important. I said, well, we know we Israel. Why we got to go through this? But if we don't put it in the next generation to keep it going, I can die. The older generation can die. Who gonna carry the legacy of this Bible on, of educating the Israelites? Very few people understand it, and I think it's a fairy tale. But that fairy tale gonna come true when that seventh trumpet blow. So we're gonna start in Isaiah chapter 1. Isaiah chapter 1 and verse 2. The history must be taught. And believe me, if you don't know your history, you're doing the repeat it, excuse me. That's the old saying. Give something to your children and the younger generation. Understand this, be able to teach this to them. We did the first leg of Black history, we dealt with color. And we understand the Israelite of a dark-skinned people. So we broke that down. Now we're going to basically the slave ships and what was on the slave ships. Well, you know Israel, they don't care. The book gonna tell you that. Isaiah chapter 1 and verse 2. When you get it, brother, go ahead.
Hear, O heavens, and give ear, O earth, for the Lord has spoken. I have nourished and brought up children, and they have rebelled against me.
He said, I've nourished and brought up children, and they have rebelled against him. Go ahead.
The ox knoweth his owner, and the ass his master's crib. But Israel does not know, my people do not consider.
God compared us to animals. Even the animals are smarter than you, Israel. They know their owner. They know their master crib. You don't even know and don't even consider. How you got over here? What made you get over here? What did our ancestors do wrong? People don't even consider this. We Black. Just we Black. Bottom of the totem pole. Why did we get in this situation? That's what I always wonder. Until my teachers taught me from the God of Israel who I was and why I was put in this captivity. Say, Israel don't even consider. Go ahead.
Ah, sinful nation, a people laden with iniquity, a seed of evildoers, children that are corrupters. They have forsaken the Lord. They have provoked the Holy One of Israel unto anger. They are gone away backward.
That's why it's so important for us to know the history. He said, you have provoked the Holy One of Israel to anger and went away backwards. If you don't know what you're supposed to be doing, like you're on your job, you just can't show up and clock in and not know what you're supposed to do on your job. We come and once we get baptized, like me and Brother Braswell was talking, he said a lot of people that got baptized and left Israel. When you get baptized, you got a job description. You have to teach the book to make people understand. He said they went away backwards. A sinful nation, laden with iniquity, which is saying a seed of evil dwellers. God called his people evil dwellers. Go ahead.
Verse 5. Why should you be stricken anymore? You will revolt more and more. The whole head is sick, and the whole heart faint.
He said the whole head is sick. Look at our elderly people. They don't know nothing. Ask them who Israel is. They don't know. All they know is we Black. I ain't worried about color. Jesus ain't worried about color. I tell you what, you go take out all them white statues down. You take all them white Jesus off the walls of them white folk and see how much they gonna get you. See how they get you. And you tell me no color don't matter. It matters. The situation we in, it matters. They have whitewashed all this stuff and got us thinking like, we ain't nobody. And we the most important nation on this earth. But Israel had forgotten God and provoked to anger. That's why we in slavery. Go ahead.
Verse 6. From the sole of the foot even to the head, there is no soundness in it.
He said, there's no soundness in it. From your head down to your foot, ain't no sound. Meaning you don't even understand what's good for your body, Israel. We have a dietary law that shows what is good for our body. But they won't teach it. You know why? Because they still cooking that pork chop. They still eating them chitlins. Your grandma, my grandpa, auntie, uncle, they still eating that pork. Go ahead.
But wounds and bruises and putrefying sores, they have not been closed, neither bound up, neither mollified with ointment.
Wounds and bruises, putrefying sores. A lot of time when we won't follow the dietary law, guess what happens? Diabetes set in, high blood pressure set in, all these diseases set in. But if we follow this law and understand what to put in our body, guess what? our body be a little bit more healthier. A little bit more healthier. And everything we need is right here. But our people won't teach it. They won't teach who we are. We were doctors, scientists, architects. I mean, we did it all. Inventors of everything you see in this world, it came from Israel. And most of all, from the God of Israel. Go ahead.
Verse 7. Your country is desolate. Your cities are burned with fire. Your land, strangers devour it in your presence, and it is desolate as overthrown by strangers.
You have more people. My land ain't, most of the Israelites that in Georgia or Mississippi, my land ain't desolate. My land is good. Ain't no land on fire, anything. He's not talking about this land. You got another land, which is Israel. They are fighting over our real estate every day, and we don't even consider black people, Negroes. We don't consider that at all. I pay taxes over here in my lot. In my lot over here. You got a lot in Israel that he gonna put everybody on their land. But the history ain't being taught. They think it's not good to teach it. But we're gonna show you how good to teach it. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 28. Let's deal with these gifts on the ship. Deuteronomy chapter 28, we're gonna start at verse 6 to 8, we're gonna go back to verse 1. Gotta know this, man. That's where I got the title from. Verse 6 to 8. When you get it, brother, go ahead.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
Who's that talking about right there? It ain't, you read this stuff for the first time and no one taught you the history of Israel. You wouldn't even know who he's talking about. Oh, don't worry about the Old Testament. It been done away with. That's what my family think. A lot of them, not my family, but my family outside of the family out here, they think that the Old Testament been done away with. All that been fulfilled. He said, I'm gonna bring you to Egypt with ships. By the way, wherefore you'll be sold for slave men and slave women. That bondsmen and bondwomen, these slaves. Only one set of people that over this whole world have been sold as slaves in ships. It should put a light bulb in your head like, these are God people. He brought you to Egypt again in the ship. He's not talking about the actual land Egypt. He's talking about bondage. When you read Exodus chapter 20 about the commandments, he's talking about when the first verse talking about a bondage that he's going to put Israel in. And this is one of the bondages. Ships, slave ships. Let's go to verse 1. Go jump back up in verse 1. But I got to show you how we was on the top. We was on the top of the echelon. If we did what God told us to do, which is obey these commandments. Verse 1, Deuteronomy 28, verse 1. Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and do all his commandments which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
So you don't think the commandments need to be read in the Sabbath class? You don't think that that's important? A lot of people think, oh, you keep doing this over and over and over again. We know. What did I just say? I will put you above all nations if you do these commandments. Remember them. Israel have a hard time remembering. Go ahead.
Verse 2, and all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee.
You hear them all the time. Ooh, I'm blessed and highly favored. I'm blessed. You better figure out where your blessing come from. Satan can bless you too. He can make you have miracles too. Understand where your connection of power come from. Does it come from God or does it come from Satan? God said, I'm going to bless you to keep these commandments. Go ahead.
If thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, blessed shall thou be in the city, and blessed shalt thou be in the field.
See, these are the blessings right here. Are we blessed in the city now? Are we blessed in the field now? Nah. Every time they look at us like we about to steal something, kill somebody, or hurt somebody. This is what we had when we obeyed the commandments. Before we got on those ships. Go ahead.
Verse 4. Blessed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy ground, and the fruit of thy cattle, the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep.
Blessed should be the fruit of your body. Your children should be blessed because you obey the commandments. The blessing flows down to them. But if you don't do right, that curse gonna flow down to them. Like we read in Ezekiel chapter 20, he said, I'm gonna curse you from a third and the fourth generation. A generation could be 40 years or 100 years. It all depends on what part of the prophecy you're talking about. That's a long time of children being cursed. And look at our children now, cursed. Go ahead.
Verse 6. Blessed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and blessed shalt thou be when thou goest out. The Lord shall cause thy enemies that rise up against thee to be smitten before thy face. They shall come against thee one way and flee before thee 7 ways.
Look at how black people get jumped. The Israelites get jumped. Ain't nobody fleeing from us 7 different ways. They come to add more boots to the back and to the head. They come to kick you even more, kill you even more. Because we don't have this blessing when we don't obey the commandments of God. Go ahead.
The Lord shall command the blessing upon thee in thy storehouses, and in all that thou settest thy hand unto, and he shall bless thee in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee.
So what you got in your pantry? What you got in your house? Do you have enough to bless somebody else and keep it going? Do you have enough to take care of some other people and keep it going? That'll let you know that you ain't doing all you're supposed to do if you lacking. He said you be blessed to help. You blessing your storehouse. Go ahead.
The Lord shall establish thee an holy people unto himself, as he has sworn unto thee, if thou shalt keep the commandments of the Lord thy God and walk in his ways.
He said, I'm going to establish thee a holy people if you do what?
Keep the commandments.
Keep the commandments. We ain't been established. You want to get right and get strong? That's where I draw my strength from. A lot of people say, oh man, you just bragging. No, you ain't listening to my mouth correctly. I'm bragging on the Lord. I always say God did this first, and I'm going to operate behind him. You ain't putting God in his position, which he the head of my life. That's where I get my strength from. I can't do none of this without it. Go ahead.
Verse 10, and all the people of the earth shall see that thou art called by the name of the Lord, and they shall be afraid of thee. And the Lord shall make...
Who afraid of us today?
No one.
They're afraid of us in the wrong way. Afraid you're going to steal. Afraid you're going to kill. Afraid you're going... They ain't afraid of you like, oh, I can't touch him. That's a raw seed of God. No. They want to make sure you're locked up. You're worth more to them locked up than you walking out here alive. Because they can make more money when you're locked up. Free labor. That's a new slavery. That's a new Jim Crow right there. You know, Amendment 13. All these things they put in place to try to put these little different titles on stuff to control us. That's slavery. Go ahead.
Verse 11, and the Lord shall make thee plenteous in goods, in the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy ground, in the land which the Lord sware unto thy fathers to give thee.
They always say, Jeff, you always talking about the bad stuff. Look at all this good stuff right here. This is what he said he's going to bless us if we keep the commandments. If you ain't keeping the commandments, how am I be talking about all the good? We got to correct this stuff to show you where you're going wrong. And 99.9% of these people in the world, Israelites, our people are going wrong. We ain't got time to be talking about blessings all the time. That's wrong with Israel now. We can't serve God till it's comfortable. I got to have the right temperature. Got to have the right clothes on. I got to have the right car to drive to church. Man, you ain't going to get in the kingdom thinking like that. You're not. You going comfortable? No, not when I read this book. You got to fight for this. What Paul said, I fought the good fight of faith. Go ahead, bro.
The Lord shall open unto thee his good treasure, the heaven, to give the rain unto thy land in his season, and to bless all the work of thy hand, and thou shalt lend unto thee many nations, and thou shalt not borrow.
Lend to many nations? What nation you done lend to? We ain't letting no nation. We try to get something from somebody. We try to move to Canada to get free health care because they're giving free health care. They ain't giving no free health care here. This is the curse they put on Zion. I'm just showing you how we were blessed before we got on them slave ships. Go ahead.
13. And the Lord shall make thee the head and not the tail, and thou shalt be above only, and thou shalt not be beneath. If thou hearken unto the commandments of the Lord thy God, which I command thee this day, to observe and to do them.
You can get these things still today, a little bit of them. He said, I'll be a little sanctuary to you in your enemy's land. But you got to know the commandments. You got to know the story. You got to know the history. That's why this history of Israel is so important to understand how far we fell. We fell so far down here, we at the bottom. That's just like when I went to the NFL and I got picked up by the New England Patriots. I was on the top. Everybody said, man, Jeff made it, signed the contract, everything. When they cut me, I was at the bottom, homeless. Mama always said, you weren't homeless, boy. You could have came home. No, I couldn't help myself. I was homeless from the top. People ain't never experienced that top. Folk asking for your autograph, folk follow you, trying to get something for you. You ought to experience that sometime. But Israel don't know about that situation because we've been so far in captivity, we lost the history of this. So I just want to try to do that, show you that comparison. You know what I'm saying? Because it was something else. You know, that was a good time, boy. When I hit, and then when I got cut, that was the worst time. I ain't never felt that in my life. Go ahead.
Verse 14, and thou shalt not go aside from any of the words which I command thee this day, to the right hand or to the left, to go after other gods to serve them.
He told them, don't even go after other gods to serve them. Don't go after Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving, birthdays, all these different type of celebration they celebrate. Other gods that ain't written in this book. Go ahead.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
Just like the blessing was overcome you and take you, God said, I'm going to reverse it. I'm going to go with the curse. They're going to overcome and take you over. This is what we're experiencing now. He's just going to go through the whole thing of what we just read in reverse. Curse. This is what happened to people. You can't be double-minded with people, with God. Let's look at it. Jump out of verse 32. Y'all can go back and read all this all on your own, but we can't read it all. We'll read a couple of these curses when them slave ships came. Go ahead.
32.
32, yeah.
Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thy hand.
What nation what nation did this happen to? Negroes. Man, you just had a child. Like my son. I just had my son. He gets sold to another nation. I never see him no more. Sometime he got on the ship and went somewhere across the world. You never see him. That's some pain.
Mm-hmm.
Pain. You never see him no more. Your mama, your daddy, your brother, sister, whoever it is, you never see him no more. That's what happened on them ships. Go ahead.
33. The fruit of thy hand and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed away.
This is
always, excuse me.
What you say now? Only oppressed and crushed always. We will never have the banks, the stock market. We will never have this like we had before. We were the Wall Street. Israel, that's what started up the blessing. Everybody was trying to bless up so they can get a blessing. But now the Gentiles got that power. He said, this fruit of the land and all the labor shall a nation which y'all knoweth eat up. How they eat up? Go out there and plant that cotton, boy. Pick it for me, boy. I'll give you a penny. You done pay 800 pounds of cotton and you get a penny. You like today, you worth more on your job than what they pay you. If you own that company, guess how much money you'll get? You'll get bukus, more money than you ever imagine if you was the owner of that company. but they pay somebody else like us to run it so we can make them rich. Jump down to verse 33. Go ahead. 36, excuse me. Go ahead.
The Lord shall bring thee and thy king which thou shalt set over thee unto a nation which neither thou or thy fathers have known. And there shalt thou serve other gods, wood and stone.
They're going to bring thee and the king, thy king which shall sit over thee. They're going to put kings over. Why you think all these different types of kings? And also our king will honor their king. Just like Samuel said, what it was, Samuel? I think it was Samuel. And they would say, we want a king like the other king. That when first King Saul came about. And God said, Samuel got real mad. He said, Samuel, don't get mad. They didn't reject you. They rejected God of Israel. That's what they rejected, God of Israel. So he don't give them a king. These kings, like these presidents, these dictators, he put them over us. We ain't running no country. And Obama wasn't an Israelite, neither. Don't even think he was an Israelite. He's an African, Hamite. Go ahead.
Yeah.
We feel, oh, okay. Jump down to verse 45. I just want to run through a little of these things before we get on these slave ship. God is telling you the blueprint right here. This is what's going to happen to you, Israel. We ain't even got on the slave ship yet. This was already pre-written. Like, if you don't obey these laws, I'm going to send all these curses on you. Go ahead. 45, excuse me. Go ahead.
Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which he commanded thee.
Go ahead.
And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever.
Wait. They're a sign? What's a sign? It's something that identifies you to being poor. Something identify us to being cursed. This black skin right now, it's like, it's a curse. You step in the room, something get missing, and you the only black man in there. Oh, they're going to be looking at you, Junior. I don't care if you light skin, you still black. They're going to be looking at you. Yeah, let's check his pockets over there. Let's check his pocket first. Go check him. Everybody else, they get a pass. They get the benefit of the doubt. Not Israel. Them curses overtake us. It's like a sign on us. Go ahead, bro.
47. Because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart for the abundance of all things.
People ain't joyful to hear this. That's why he sent all these curses. He said, this is what's going to happen to you because you ain't got no joy. You think this a burden to come in here for the Sabbath class. You think this a burden to keep the feast day. You think this a burden to keep the dietary law. And you wonder why your life is still the same way. I'm just talking about Israel as a nation. I don't take this as no burden. This is my lifeline. Go ahead.
48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in wanting all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee.
Oh, that's another identifying factor of Israel, a yoke of iron. What other nation had a yoke around that iron around their neck that they led away in captivity? Us, Israelites, the Negroes. This is a sign of who we are. What else he gonna do? Go ahead.
The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from the end of the earth, as swift as an eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand.
Why you think America chose the eagle? They just chose it because God put it in their mind to understand who they are. That's the United States symbol. The bird is the eagle. He said he's gonna come swift as an eagle. They said, okay, yeah, we need to make an eagle up there. So we let these niggas know. These niggas need to understand what we're doing. Okay, they didn't want us to read. They didn't want us to read. They didn't want to understand. So they read this and said, okay, we know what to do. Let's get an eagle. And that eagle was big in Rome. If you do a little history on that, it's real big in Rome. But this is what they got it from. Go ahead.
A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of old, nor show favor to the young.
They don't care if you're old or young. They'll kill you, they'll rape you, they'll do whatever they want to do to you. Little babies, feed them to alligators. Alligator bait. They got postcards of that. This what the effects of not doing the law before them slave ships came. He telling us, I'm gonna do this to you. Verse 63. Jump down to 63. Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass that as the Lord rejoiced over you to do good and to multiply you, so the Lord will rejoice over you to destroy you and to bring you to naught. And ye shall be plucked from off the land whither thou goest to possess it.
Plucked? What do that mean by being plucked? They pull you out. How they pull us out? 7 AD. When Titus came over there with the slave ship. Oh, that's an Israelite. That's an Israelite. Who will point them out? Because we was trying to merge and blend in with the Africans. Yeah, Esau. He gonna tell, look, Esau and the Africans told who the Israelites were. No, that's a Hamite. That's an Israelite. Jeff right there. Look at his head. Get him over off that ship. Put him on that ship. Esau knew who we were because that was our twin brother. Go ahead.
And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth even to the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods which neither thou or thy fathers have known, even wood and stone.
Yes, sir. They serve other God. They serve the cross. The Muslim, they serve the Kaaba stone. They take a pilgrimage to Mecca to go up there and serve this, to go march around some meteors that they saying came from God. That's Islam. Wood and stone, you serve that tree every year. You sing to it, old Christmas tree. You got your kids singing to it. Go ahead.
And among these nations shalt thou find no ease.
Wait a minute. Among these nations, you won't find no ease. We ain't got no ease. Not with the police, not with the judges, not with the people who own the businesses. You always looked upon as doing something bad. You got to prove yourself to these people 10 times over. Like, I ain't like the mother. I'm trying to see how to say it. I ain't like my brothers over there. I'm a little different from them. I'm gonna try to do right, sir. Go ahead, bro.
Neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest, but the Lord shall give thee there a trembling heart and failing of eyes and sorrow of mind.
Oh, you got all them locks on your door. Or you got ADT on your car, on your house. Why? Because you know your brother walking around here. You know these police officers walk around here. We ain't finding no ease amongst these nations. When I was coming up a little bit, we could leave our front door. We ain't even worry about it. Not no more. You leave it open. See what happened. Go ahead. We'll jump down to verse, where we at?
66.
Yeah. Jump down to verse 68. Let's get into this lesson. Go ahead.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
So this is what these ships brought. Let's see what these ships brought. I just want to deal with the curses. That's our identifying factor of who Israel is. No other nation had yokes of iron around their neck. No other nation went into slave ship and being sold over 400 years, been in slavery. No other nation but the so-called Negro. This is us. We are the gifts that came off them ships. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 13. Let me show you something here. Just want to give you a little curses. Let me show you what they got. They got gifts. They got doctors. They got architects. But we won't know this if we don't teach this. Let's see who the doctors were and how they handled their business. Let's see the prescriptions. It ain't nothing that's you got to create in a lab. Leviticus chapter 13:1. Let's see the doctors. Go ahead.
And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron, saying, when a man shall have in in the skin of his flesh a rising, a scab, or bright spot, and it be in the skin of his flesh, like the plague of leprosy, then he shall be brought unto Aaron the priest, or unto one of his sons the priest.
Wait a minute. Moses and Aaron came from what tribe?
Levi.
Levi. They was the doctors. You had something going on with your body, you take them to them, they got to look over it and see what's going on according to the law. He talking about the skin, the rising of a scab or a bright spot or in your skin. This is how they analyze you, the Levites. Go ahead.
And the priest shall look on the plague in the skin of the flesh, and when the hair in the plague is turned white, and the plague in the sight be deeper than the skin of his flesh, it is a plague of leprosy.
He's telling you right there, when the hair turn white in your skin, you know you got some form of leprosy. This is how they analyze through the hair on your skin, whatever that spot is. They look on the hair, see how healthy that sore is. Go ahead.
And the priest shall look on him and pronounce him unclean.
He's a little man, he's unclean. How did he know that? From the law. This is the doctor. Go ahead.
If the bright spot be white in the skin of his flesh,
He said the bright spot be white in the skin of his flesh. Go ahead.
and the sight be not deeper than the skin, and the hair thereof be not turned white, then the priest shall shut up him that hath the plague 7 days.
He's like, okay, it ain't white. I'm gonna shut him up 7 days, quarantine him 7 days. Let's see what happens. Because the hair's still black in the skin. See, I gotta know. When I read this, I said, oh, I'm a barber. And I see a whole lot of nasty stuff in people's heads. And when you're dealing with them, and one lady or no child said, look, I can't cut that. And I seen this pus and all that stuff in there. I said, nah, you got to go let him deal with that. Go to the doctor first before I cut it. And it helped me out. Because a lot of times you be chasing money. I got to get these heads and you try to cut people. You be to spread this stuff to somebody else. Put a fungus in their head. That's how you cut down all these diseases. You know what it looked like and you know how to handle it. And the priest had this information. Go ahead.
Verse 5, and the priest shall look on him the 7th day, and behold, if the plague in his sight be at stay, and the plague spread not in the skin, then the priest shall shut him up 7 days more.
You're like, man, I hit stop, but it's still in there. Shut him up 7 days more. Go ahead.
And the priest shall look on him again the 7th day, and behold, if the plague be somewhat dark, and the plague spread not in the skin, the priest shall pronounce him clean. It is but a scab, and he shall wash his clothes and be clean.
He said, okay, and the scab, like that little black scab on your body, okay, it's clean. Okay, it's good. It'll start spreading. Wherever that spot is, it got a scab on it. Y'all know them scab have on your knees and arm when you fall. You know, it ain't red no more. It ain't cherry red no more. This is what he's telling the priest to look upon. Go ahead.
But if the scab spread much abroad in the skin, after that he had been seen of the priest for his cleansing, he shall be seen of the priest again.
Go ahead.
And if the priest see that, behold, the scab spreadeth in the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is leprosy.
You mean that it ain't stopped, man. It's spreading. It's spreading. These are the prescriptions. These are the directions to a disease that God gave to the priest. And you telling me I don't need to teach this? Go ahead.
When the plague of leprosy is in a man, then he shall be brought unto the priest, and the priest shall see him. And behold, if the rising be white in the skin, and it have turned the hair white, and there be quick raw flesh in the rising.
So you got a rise in the skin and the hair white, you got a problem. That means you really sicker than what it's supposed to be. But if you got a black hair in there, you're okay. He's going to look at you some more. Keep going.
It is an old leprosy in the skin of his flesh, and the priest shall pronounce him unclean, and shall not shut him up, for he is unclean.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
And if a leprosy break out abroad in the skin, and the leprosy cover all the skin of him that hath the plague from his head even to his foot, wheresoever the priest looketh.
Go ahead, keep reading 12.
Then the priest shall consider, and behold, if the leprosy have covered all his flesh, he shall pronounce him clean, that have the plague. It is all turned white, and he is clean.
This is where the leprosy have set in. That's why you see ever see the people with light spots and dark spots, they turn into an albino. They skin, they are clean after that. Once that leprosy have taken the melanin out of their skin, they clean now. Jump down to verse 29. Go ahead.
If a man or woman have a plague upon the head or the beard,
This is me right here. Plague upon the head and beard. Go ahead.
then the priest shall see the plague, and behold, if it be in the sight deeper than the skin, and there be in the yellow thin hair, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a dry skull, even a leprosy upon the head or beard.
So you're looking at the yellow hair and a sore. If yellow, he's unclean. It's some form of leprosy. Really, all diseases on your body is like leprosy. That's what God called it. All these other different types of disease, they call, this is what he said it is right here, leprosy. Go ahead.
And if the priest, 32.
31.
31. And if the priest look on the plague of the skull, and behold, it be not in the sight deeper than the skin, and there is no black hair in it, then the priest shall shut him of him that hath the plague of the skull 7 days.
Yes, sir. Quarantine for 7 days. Go ahead.
And in the seventh day of the priest shall look on the plague, and behold, if the skull spread not, there be in it no yellow hair, and then the skull be not in sight deeper than the skin.
Go ahead.
He shall be shaven, but the skull shall not shave, and the priest shall shut him that has the skull 7 days more.
He looking for the yellow hair. He said, no yellow hair in it? Okay, shave it. So the hair spread. When you got stuff that diseases, the hair will kind of keep it going. You can spread stuff that'll stay on you more if you got that disease on the hair. So he's saying shave around it so it won't spread. But I just want to show you, this is the direction, the prescriptions of this body that was on the ship. They had this information, but we couldn't communicate with them because they spoke another tongue. They didn't understand that we knew all this until we started cohabitating with them. Then we started cohabitating with them. They said, no, do this. They would tell them to do that. They said, oh, it healed. Where did they get this from? From the law. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 14, verse 33. Just want to show you a little bit these gifts. Leviticus 14, verse 33. Let's look at another one. I got
38.
Yeah. Well, 33. Go 33.
Okay.
Excuse me. I got Japanese writing sometime.
All right.
Go ahead.
And the Lord spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, When you be coming to the land of Canaan, which I give to you for possession, and I put the plague of leprosy in the house of the land of your possession.
You talking about the plague in your house. Go ahead.
And he that owneth the house shall come and tell the priest, saying, It seemeth to me there is as it were a plague in the house.
Understand that the plague in the house, it can be like you come into a house. If you don't know what mold is, and you buy that house, you have bought a bad house, man. You got to almost tear that thing down or gut it out. A lot of mold. He telling the priest, look, if you go in this house, you see this leprosy, call it leprosy in the house, we're going to know it as black mold or something like that. Go ahead.
Then the priest shall command that they empty the house.
Wait, who conducting this? The priest. This is the doctors. This is who conducting all this inspection of things, your body. Now you're going to your house. Go ahead. Saying.
Let me see where I'm at. I'm gonna start from the top.
All right.
Then the priest shall command that they empty the house before the priest go into it to see the plague, that all that is in the house be not made unclean, and afterward the priest shall go in to see the house.
They are very important. The priest said, like, y'all get out of here. I got to see what's going on. He knows what he's looking for. He's looking for that plague of leprosy. Or, excuse me, that plague. Go ahead.
37. And he shall look on the plague, and behold, if the plague be in the walls of the house, with hollow straight, greenish or reddish, which in sight are lower than the wall, then the priest shall go out of the house to the door of the house and shut up the house 7 days.
He said, you see, it could be greenish or what, reddish. You look, man, come out of the house. We're going to shut up the house for 7 days and see what it go away. Go ahead.
And the priest shall come again the 7th day, and shall look, and behold, if the plague be spread in the walls of the house, then the priest shall command that they take away the stones in which the plague is, and they shall cast them into an unclean place without the city.
So he knows what to throw away and what to keep. This is the job of the priest. This is what they got on these ships. This is what we start educating them with. Israelites, the Levites. Go ahead.
41. And he shall cause the house to be scraped within round about, and they shall pour out the dust that they scrape off without the city into an unclean place.
Now, when you see them licensed contractors start doing all this stuff, you understand where they got it from. Us. They do this stuff all the time. Scraping the walls, putting plaster back on the wall. That's good. Just scrape it off. How do they know that? From us. How to reserve a house, how to keep a house, what to tear out. The Levites, these are the gifts that God put on the ship. Leviticus chapter 15 and verse 1. Let's look at some more of this doctor and his prescription, which are the Levites. Verse 1, go ahead.
And the Lord spake unto Moses and to Aaron, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, when any man hath a running issue out of his flesh, because of his issue, he is unclean.
So if you got a running issue, whether it's blood, whether it's pus, whether it be anything, you unclean. You need to get that checked out. Go ahead.
And this shall be his uncleanness in his issue,
Uh-huh.
whether his flesh run with his issue, or his flesh be stopped from his issue. It is uncleanness.
He telling them how to handle it. Whether it be run or stop, it's still unclean. Now, you must do something once you figure out, look, this thing is bleeding. I'm bleeding in a certain area. Now, you can't keep walking around the house and sitting on stuff. He's going to tell you how to handle it. Go ahead.
Every bed whereon he lieth that hath the issue is unclean, and everything whereon he sitteth shall be unclean.
So everything he sit on with the issue of blood, anything is unclean. Go ahead.
And whosoever toucheth his bed shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the evening.
So you touch someone who got an unclean issue, whether it be blood, pus, or whatever. You wash your clothes and you wash yourself and be unclean till the evening. This is how you stop diseases. But we don't know that. We go and busting bumps and keep going. Mama tell you, come on and bust these bumps. She go right in there and touch everybody. She got everybody going down the line, but get blackheads out of here. I know she's going to get me for that, but keep going.
Verse 6, and he that sitteth on anything whereon he sat that hath the issue shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean to the evening.
How many else do that today? Time you get something, blood issue come out your body, you need to wash your clothes. He said all of them. This is how you stay clean. This is why the world is so filthy. This is why people got all this HIV, this virus and stuff, because people are not being clean.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Verse 7, and he that toucheth the flesh of him that hath the issue shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the evening.
These are the directions. Go ahead.
Verse 8, and if he that hath the issue spit upon him that is clean.
Now here comes the spit. The one that is spit upon him and clean. Go ahead.
Then he shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the evening.
So that's a nasty thing. You spit on somebody, but this is how he telling you to handle it. You don't spit on nobody.
Mm.
Go ahead.
And what saddle soever he ride upon that hath the issue shall be unclean.
Now, I'm just reading all this. We in the land of our captivity. Believe me, I understand we can't keep all this. But it gives you knowledge to understand what to do. It'll help you. I understand we can't keep all this because we don't follow the cleanliness law according to the Bible. but they try to follow some of them. Jump down to verse 19. 19, go ahead.
And if a woman have an issue, and her issue in her flesh be blood, she shall be put apart 7 days. And whosoever touches her shall be unclean until the evening.
Like you said, the man had an issue. He should be put away for 7 days. He should be unclean for 7 days. But his woman, her issue going to run a little longer. It's going to run by 7 days. This is a cycle or a period. So she don't need to touch it. You can't be out there having no type of sexual acts with her when you're married. I ain't talking about the single ones out here fornicating. Talking about when you're married. So she don't need to be doing that for 7 days. Go ahead.
And everything that she lieth upon in her separation shall be unclean.
Mm-hmm.
Everything also that she sitteth upon shall be unclean. And whosoever touches her bed shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the evening.
Yes, sir. Husband and wife, you got to understand that, you got to bathe yourself, wash yourself every day, be unclean. She going to be unclean for 7, but you got to make sure you take a bath if you touching her. We just try to follow this to our best of our ability. We can't do 100 on this. Because back in the Israel day, the woman had a separate house that she went to for 7 days. And then they had more than one wife there. So we ain't got no other house to send our wife to. You know what I'm saying? So we try to do the best we can. Go ahead.
22. And whosoever touches anything that she sat upon shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean till the evening.
He telling you to wash. Go ahead.
And if it be on her bed or on anything whereon she sitteth, when she toucheth it, he shall be unclean until the evening.
And folks, he should be talking about women like, you need to know this. You're a man. You dealing with women. Sometimes men, we the first teachers to women. We have to teach them about your period, about your cycle. A lot of women don't know this stuff. You think they know this? They don't know this. They don't know it at all. You take them to the scripture and let them read it. Go ahead.
24. If any man lie with her at all, and her flowers be upon him, he shall be unclean 7 days, and all the bed whereon he lieth shall be unclean.
So, man, you lying with this woman and her period on, you're going to be unclean for 7 days too. Sometimes it be accidental, well, she don't know, but if you know what you do, you're going to be unclean for 7 days. This is the cleanliness law that God put in place for Israel to stay healthy. Because when that blood come about, when that issue come about, it kills. Leprosy come about, it kills. These are the gifts that we had to teach the nations. But then they started teaching us. I remember I had a doctor one time, he was a surgeon. And all his patients started dying within so many days. And what he was doing was, once he got the solution in this disinfectant in a bowl of water, once he get through having surgery on one, he go wash his hand, boom, and go to the next one. He go wash his hand, boom, go to the next one. But he didn't understand that you don't supposed to put your hands in water and leave it there, that disease in the water. You're supposed to wash your hands over water that flows. You don't supposed to go, like people right now wash dishes wrong. You don't supposed to have a sink full of dishes. You're supposed to wash dishes over water. Let the water run while you do it. I used to get mad with my son. I said, man, what you doing? Run a sink of water. Now I start reading in the Bible how you get stuff clean. You run the water over so to go down the sink, not have a sink full of water. Just like the doctor had to understand that he was killing people. He was killing women, and he was killing women that were pregnant, and he was killing people that we having surgery on till he went in the Bible, understood about washing over running water. That's why doctors do what they do. But anyway, just want to share that with you. We finished with that?
Yes, sir.
Let's go to Revelation chapter 22. Let's get some prescriptions. Let's get some prescriptions for the body. Some medicine that God, let's get God medicine. How he healed the nation. I ain't telling nobody to stop taking their medicine now. Don't keep doing what you do. But I'm just showing you what the book said. Revelation chapter 22 and verse 1. Let's see how God healed the nations of their sickness. Go ahead, bro.
And he showed me a pure river of water of life, clear as crystal, proceeding out of the throne of God and of the Lamb.
Yes, sir. This is the Father and Jesus' throne. He showed them a vision. Go ahead.
In the midst of the street of it, and on either side of the river, was there the tree of life, which bare 12 manner of fruits,
Yes, sir.
and yielded her fruit every month.
Mm-hmm.
And the leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations.
Wait a minute now. The leaves of the tree of the healings of the nation. And I don't get spiritual. I mean, I understand that it's talking about Israel and Jesus. But Israel, Jesus gave Israel something to get to the nation. He said, I gave the healing, he said the trees were the healing of the nations. The herbs from the trees going to heal the nation. That is the prescription medicine. Let's look at an example of that. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 38. Isaiah 38. These are the gifts on the ship. Believe me, when you sick, you don't want somebody to heal you. I know when I was sick, I wanted somebody to get this stuff off of me. And the only thing that brought me back from COVID-19 was God and them herbs I was taking. All that stuff they were giving me in the hospital, they wasn't doing nothing. I thought I was about to die. Let's look at Hezekiah right here and his experiences with a near-death situation. Gifts on the ship. This is what we got in our nation. Isaiah chapter 38, we will start with verse 1. Let's see some prescriptions. Go ahead, bro.
In those days was Hezekiah sick unto death, and Isaiah the prophet, the son of Amos, came unto him, and said unto him, Thus saith the Lord, set thine house in order, for thou shalt die and not live.
So Hezekiah came, so Amos came to him and said, look, man, you about to die. Get your house in order. Mainly ask for repentance because you're going to die tonight. But look at what Hezekiah did. Go ahead.
Then Hezekiah turned his face toward the wall and prayed unto the Lord.
He went and turned the face of the one did what?
Prayed
unto the Lord. Let's see if the Lord heard him. Go ahead.
And said, Remember now, O Lord, I beseech thee, how I walk before thee in truth and with a perfect heart, and have done that which is good in thy sight. And Hezekiah wept sore.
First thing Hezekiah started talking about giving them receipts. He said, look, Lord, I walk with you. I done what you said. Help me. I don't want to die right now. He putting 10 on it. He putting caps on it, Junior. Go ahead.
Then came the word of the Lord to Isaiah, saying,
Came the word to Isaiah saying what?
Go and say to Hezekiah, Thus saith the Lord, the God of David, thy father, I have heard thy prayer, and I have seen thy tears. Behold, I will add unto thy days 15 years.
Yeah, but every week, Jane, you drop the Bible one more time, I'll hurt you. He telling you right here, he said, I heard your prayer, Hezekiah. He said, I'm going to add 15 years to you. That's something serious right there. 15 years, I heard your prayer. Jumping out of verse 9. Let's see what else he had to do now. It ain't just that God healed him miraculously, automatically. He had to do something else. Jump out of verse 9. Go ahead.
The writing of Hezekiah, king of Judah, when he had been sick and was recovered of his sickness.
So the writing of Hezekiah, king of Judah, he recovered of his sickness. Let's see, how did he get recovered? Jumping out of verse 20. Go ahead. He did something.
The Lord was ready to save me. Therefore, we will sing my songs to the string instruments all the days of our life in the house of the Lord.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
For Isaiah has said, Let them take a lump of figs and lay it for plaster upon the boil, and he shall recover.
Wait a minute. That's a herb, ain't it? Take a fig, lay it upon the boil which was on his leg that was killing him. This is real healing. This is real prescription medicine from the earth. God said, I gave you the healings to how to be healed from the nation. You're being healed from the earth. He healed him, but he said, look, okay, I heard your prayer. All right, you're going to be recovered. All right. If he didn't do the next part, I don't know if he'd have been healed. He told him to put that lump of fig on it. Just like when I got that COVID-19, all that medicine they were giving me in that hospital, it wasn't working. So I got that black seed oil. That next day, I felt 50% better.
Mm.
The next day, because it got in my system, it started getting all the inflammation out my chest. Just like Hezekiah did. He put that fig on his boil. He became healthier. This is the gifts on the ship that you should understand today. Let's go to Mark chapter 5. We got to have more faith in God medicine than man medicine. And again, I'm not telling nobody to not deal with the doctors. Some doctors know that they tell you the right thing to do. But you work more for them to string you along than to heal you. Ain't trying to take no shot at you, Charles. Say none taken. Mark chapter 5 and verse 25. Let's look at something right here about this woman and her issue of blood. Let's see how she got healed. Go ahead.
And a certain woman which had an issue of blood 12 years.
Wait a minute. She had an issue of blood for 12 years. Can you just imagine that? You wake up bloody. You go to bed bloody. Don't nobody want to be around you because you smelling like blood all day long.
Mm.
Blood. And women know that this is not their issue. The period for 7 days, they don't like that at all. But this woman had it for 12 years straight. Let's see how she got healed. Let's see did the doctor heal. Go ahead.
And
26.
and had suffered many things of many physicians, and had spent all that she had, and was nothing better, but rather grew worse.
He said she spent all that she had to woo the physicians. Spent it all, but it got worse. You know how it get worse for a lot of people? They die. They die. That's how it get worse. Go ahead.
When she heard of Jesus, came in the press behind, and she touched his garment.
She heard of Jesus, and she touched his garment. Go ahead.
For she said, if I may touch but his clothes, I shall be whole.
Yes, sir.
And straightway the fountain of her blood was dried up, and she felt in her body that she was healed of that plague.
Of that what? Plague. Her faith. Faith in Jesus healed. That garment ain't had no power in it. You know what I'm saying? But she had her faith in touching the hem of the garment, really touching him. It dried up. Go ahead.
And Jesus, immediately knowing in himself that virtue had gone out of him, turned about in the press and said, who touched my clothes?
He's like, who touched me? They were like, man, there's so many people around here touching you. We don't know. Go ahead.
And his disciples said unto him, thou seest the multitude thronging thee, and sayest thou, who touched me?
He said, you see all these people around here, you going to try to tell me to point out who touched you? Everybody touched you. But one person touched you. That power of virtue came out of it. Go ahead.
And he looked around about to see her that had done this thing.
He said, oh, it was you. Okay, go ahead.
But the woman, fearing and trembling, knowing what was done in her, came and fell down before him and told him all the truth.
She was fearing. Go ahead.
And he said unto her, daughter, thy faith hath made thee whole. Go in peace and be whole of thy plague.
That plague was gone. But at first, she gave all her money to
The physicians.
physicians. You got to have faith in his word, y'all. If God tell you to instruct you to do something, just like he told Hezekiah, put that fig on you. Just like she had that faith enough to touch the hem of the garment, at that time, that was her healing. And we can do the same thing. A lot of people saying that, how we can touch the hem of the garment? Obey these laws. Say, Lord, I obeyed these commandments. I kept these feast days. Heal me. Remind him of what you have done for him. He likes that. He likes it. It ain't you bragging. He wants you to put him in remembrance, just like Moses did. Let's go to Matthew chapter 10. But he cast a day. These doctors healing you with a charge. But God doctors don't heal you with a charge. Because it's free to the ones that believe. Matthew chapter 10 and verse 5. Let's see what he said to the disciples when they going out and what they must do. Same thing we must do. Matthew chapter 10 verse 5. Go ahead.
These 12 Jesus sent forth and commanded them, saying, Go not in the way of the Gentiles, and into any city of the Samaritans enter ye not.
He said, don't go the way of the Gentiles or the white people. I want you to go to where? Go ahead.
But go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
That's why we preach to Israel first. We got to go to them first, and then once we get them taught up, they can go to the other nations. Go ahead.
And as ye go, preach, saying the kingdom of heaven is at hand.
Tell them about the kingdom coming. What else?
Heal the sick, cleanse the lepers, raise the dead, cast out devils. Freely ye have received, freely give.
Wait a minute. Freely. Tell these jokers the only hospital isn't free in America. Now, other countries, they give free health care. He said, freely you give and freely receive. But so many people, they worry about their insurance. They ain't worried about the gospel. The gospel got everything you need to be healed. Everything. He told the disciple, go out and cleanse the lepers, raise the dead, cast out demons. Freely you have received, freely you give. You got these preachers inside the church. I heal you for $1,000. I got $100 line. I got a $10 line. If your healing is great, get over the $1,000 line. You see these folks doing this stuff all the time. And these preachers be walking on the money. Like God gonna bless y'all. Be lying them people and they die in a lie. So he telling us, teach the people. Tell them about the doctors of Levi. Tell them how they got healed. Show them examples so they can build some faith. Finished with that?
Yes, sir.
Let's go to Exodus chapter 31. Let's look at some architects. Who are they? Where you learn how to build, Gentile? Gentile didn't know how to build nothing. All the architects from Israel, God gave them knowledge of it. That's why you look in the world, all these inventions come up. You go back and learn who invented the lawnmower, who invented the cotton gin, who invented the elevator, who invented all these inventions. It's going to point back to an Israelite. If you remove Israel and all their inventions from America, it'll be like the slum ghetto, man. Well, a lot of time all these people know how to do is kill, murder. That's all they know how to do. They don't know how to help people build stuff about, cleanliness, being a doctor. We had to teach them all this. Exodus chapter 31 and verse 1. Let's see some architects and where it came from. This is the gifts on the ship that these Gentiles got because we broke the laws. And God sent them Gentiles over here and plucked us off the land. Verse 1, go ahead.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, See, I have called by name Bezalel, the son of Uriah, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah.
Now these are from the tribe of Judah. What God gonna put in them? Go ahead.
And I have filled him with the Spirit of God.
Yes, sir.
In wisdom and in understanding and in knowledge and in all manner of workmanship.
All manner of workmanship. He have put this in us. That's why we can invent these inventions. You're like, man, I don't know how I came up with this. It's in you. You just don't know what tribe you're from. I just don't know what tribe I'm from. But Israelites coming up with these inventions. God said, I put this workmanship in you, this knowledge in you. To do what? Go ahead.
To devise cunning works, to work in gold and in silver and in brass.
You can invent stuff. You can mold stuff, gold and silver, all these different type of crosses, all these different type of earrings, all these different type of nose rings, all this stuff we came up with. Israel did. We would start doing all this stuff way before the Gentiles got to us. But when they got us, they said, oh, boy, show me how that work again. Show me what you did right there, boy. Okay, go put a patent on that. Go put it. We're gonna steer that. The black man, the first man invented a car. It wasn't Ford. Ford came over there and stole his idea and duplicated it and called it his. I forgot that guy's name. Anybody know that guy's name? Patterson. Patterson. He was the first man, black man, invented a car, and Ford stole his invention and went and duplicated what he did. Go ahead.
Verse 5, and in cutting of stones to set them, and in carving of timber to work in all manner of workmanship.
All these are architectural skills from Israel, from Judah. Go ahead.
And I, behold, I have given with him Aholiab, the son of Ahisamach of the tribe of Dan, and in the hearts of all that are wise-hearted, I have put wisdom, that they may make all that I have commanded thee.
He said he put in Dan that they shall make all that I have commanded them. Go ahead.
The tabernacle of the congregation.
Wait a minute, the tabernacle? The tabernacle, he put the instructions in their mind how it's supposed to be. That's an architect. That's a contractor. That's us. Go ahead.
And the ark of the testimony, and the mercy seat that is thereupon, and all the furniture of the tabernacle.
All that Israel invented by the knowledge of God. Judah and Dan. Go ahead.
And the table of his furniture.
Furniture? Where you get a table for? We made this stuff. Exodus ain't no but a couple of books before that. That's Genesis. They didn't know this stuff until we taught it to them. Making tables, furniture, tabernacles, all this from us. This our history. This our bloodline. Go ahead.
And
Start at 7 again. Go ahead.
The tabernacle of the congregation, and the ark of the testimony, and the mercy seat that is thereupon, and all the furniture of the tabernacle.
Yes, sir.
And the table and his furniture, and the pure candlestick with all his furniture, and the altar of incense.
Yes, sir.
And the altar of burnt offerings with all his furniture, and the laver and his foot.
Go ahead.
And the cloths of service, and the holy garments for Aaron the priest, and the garments of his sons to minister in the priest's office.
Wait a minute, we know how to make suits and clothes? That's what he's saying. You make all the priestly clothes. I'm going to give you instructions how to sew them, how to make them, how to cut them. Where do you think this altar came from? Israel. Where do you think this table came from? Israel. We showed them how to make these tables. And all they did is improve the inventions. That's all they do. If you want to invent something, don't invent nothing, just improve the invention. The Gentiles been doing this all their lives. They got the power, they got all this stuff to put a patent on it. We ain't have no money to put no patent on nothing till late off in the years. But this is where they get this from. The architects, the building of the temple, the contractors, the life, they got license to do this from God. We did 11?
No.
Go ahead.
And the anointing oil and the sweet incense for the holy place, according to all that I have commanded thee, shall they do.
Where did Israel get this from? The Lord, all that he commanded them. Let's go to Genesis chapter 6. Like I said, we got doctors.
Are you skipping?
Oh, Exodus 11, excuse me. Exodus 1. Appreciate it. Exodus 1 and verse 1. Let's see who built them pyramids over there. The Egyptians didn't know how to build nothing. They came from Israel. We spent 400 years over there building stuff for them. Exodus chapter 1 and verse 1. Let's get some builders in their name. Go ahead.
Now these are the names of the children of Israel, which came into Egypt. Every man and his household came with Jacob. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin, Dan and Naphtali, Gad, and Asher.
Who them people is today? People don't know. Because we ain't teaching them. We ain't teaching the history. 99% of the people in the world don't know who Israel is because we too lazy and we won't teach this. This is the history of our people from Jacob and them 12 sons. Israel. Very important that we know this history. Go ahead.
And all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls, for Joseph was in Egypt already.
Understand, them but 12 boys come down to Egypt and one daughter. So where Israel get all their wives from?
That's the Hamites.
From the Hamites. Understand that. They got them from the Hamites. And a lot of people didn't like that. These Africans didn't like it because they were strong. Go ahead.
And Joseph died and all his brethren in all that generation.
Joseph died and all that. Put the mic to your face a little bit. He said Joseph died and all his brethren. Because somebody paying close attention to us like, these Negroes big, strong out here. We got to learn how to deal with them. Go ahead.
And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly and multiplied and waxed exceeding mighty, and the land was filled with them.
He said the children of Israel were fruitful, increased abundantly. We can have some kids. Y'all know that. And he said they waxed in the land mighty because they were strong. You look at most Israelites today, we don't look like the African. We stronger in stature, we bigger. They're like, man, we got to deal with these cats. Go ahead.
Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph.
They ain't know Joseph, who was his second in command of Pharaoh. He died off. Now the new king come up and said, hold on, man, we got to deal with these big old Negroes. Go ahead.
And he said unto his people, behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we.
More and mightier. Go ahead.
Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land.
He said, look, man, let's deal wisely with them because they're more and they're mightier than us. He said, because they are bigger, stronger. They always got a plan for us, Israel. Because they know it don't take but a few of us to get everybody that's following us. That's why they always try to break up these groups, the Black Panther Party. They always try to break up these groups, Black Lives Matter, because they know if we come together, we got a problem. If we on the same wavelength, we got a problem. They got to separate us. Listen how they separate us. Go ahead.
Therefore, they did set over them taskmasters.
Set over them what?
Taskmasters.
Slave masters. Go ahead.
To afflict them with their burdens. And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramesses.
So you looking at the pyramid over there, who built it? Israel. He said, therefore, did they set over them taskmasters or slave masters, and of them with their burdens. And they built Pharaoh treasure cities. Because they had the information of God. God put them under Pharaoh for 400 years. That's how the land of Egypt became mighty. Because of us. We went down there, 12 boys and one girl and Jacob. He said 70 souls. And then we started multiplying. And once we started multiplying, they put these Negroes to work. The Israelites to works. They put some slave masters. So we got to control them because they're more mighty. And they built these cities. Architects. Let's go to Genesis chapter 6. Let's see when the first boat was formed. Who formed that? It's all here, man. It's our history. No one an Israelite, though. Israel didn't start till Abraham. Well, there it was. Abraham the Hebrew, excuse me. Genesis chapter 6, and we're going to start verse 9. Let me stop talking. Go ahead.
These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations.
Yes, sir.
And Noah walked with God.
Walk with who? God. Noah was perfect in his generation. And he's saying like he was perfect. He just said sometimes as the Israelites or believers, we look like we don't do nothing. The reason why we don't look like we do nothing is because you don't know the law. If you knew the law, you could pick out everything we doing. How I know that? Because my family pick out everything I'm doing. They said, "What? Don't you supposed to be on your Sabbath? Why you calling me? Why you talking?" I said, "Hold up. Now, if I'm supposed to be on the Sabbath, what you supposed to be on?" They love to correct us. That let me know they know the law. Oh boy, you're gonna be judged. But listen, go ahead.
And Noah begat 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth.
This was all the civilization, this was all the bloodlines came about after the flood. These 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Go ahead.
The earth also was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. And God looked upon the earth.
Speak up a little bit.
And God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth.
All flesh. God said, I got to get a plan before I had to kill everybody. He was going to kill everybody till he looked down and seen somebody. Go ahead.
And God said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth.
He talking to Noah. But he told Noah, look, I'm going to spare you because I saw some grace on you. I'm going to spare you. But listen what he told Noah to do. Go ahead.
Make thee an ark of gopher wood. Room shalt thou make in the ark, and shall pitch it within and without with pitch.
Now he told him, make a boat, a big boat, an ark, a gopher wood. This is what you pitch it with. This is what you make that, bring that timber and make this boat. This is the first boat here. And who we use? A man of God. Go ahead.
And this is the fashion which thou shalt make it of. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, the breadth of it 50 cubits, and the height of it 30 cubits.
And you tell me God ain't meticulous about his times and his dates. Like the 14th day of the first month, you shall take Passover. Then the 15th day of that same month, you shall have the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Then the 21st day of that month, you shall have the last day of Feast of Unleavened Bread. Then you count the 7th Sabbath, then you have the Pentecost, then Atonement, then Tabernacle. And you tell me God ain't meticulous about his worship? No, because you too dumb to not, excuse me, but you don't have the information that you need to have about God to understand he very meticulous about how he wants stuff built. He telling Noah all these coordinates, all these measurements. He telling him to do this, to make this boat. Go ahead.
A window shalt thou make to the ark, and in the cubit shalt thou finish it above, and the door of the ark thou shalt set the side thereof. With lower, second, and third stories shalt thou make it.
Man, he got 3 stories on that boat, man. Tell him make a window on that boat. Go ahead.
And behold, I, even I, do bring a flood of waters upon the earth to destroy all flesh, wherein is the breath of life, from under the heaven, and everything that is in the earth shall die.
And believe me, you can go to the History Channel. They'll tell you, they'll show you the mountain that Noah's Ark was on. They got the actual blueprint, the print of the boat. They said, this got to be Noah. They found fish bones up on top of that mountain. How in the world bones get on the top of the mountain? Can't no fish swim up there. They got all this carbon dating of animals on that ark, on top of that mountain. I did the research on it. You finished with that?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's go to Daniel chapter 1. These are the gifts on the ship. And that was a gift on the ship right there. God held civilization intact. There's some good history. Let's look at some more history and knowledge. I'm almost finished. Daniel chapter 1, we're going to start at verse 1. We're going to jump down to verse 3. Let's look at these 3 brothers right here and the knowledge they had. The 3 Hebrew boys. How the kings always come to get Israel to make them understand what's going on in the world. Daniel 1 and verse 1. Go ahead.
In the third year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem, and besieged it.
Yes, sir. This is Jehoiakim. Jump down to verse 3. Go ahead.
And the king spake unto Ashpenaz, the master of his eunuchs, that he should bring a certain of the children of Israel, and of the king's seed, and of the princes.
The children of who?
Israel.
And the king's seed, mean his people, and of the princes. So we're going to have a little knowledge battle here. Go ahead.
Children in whom was no blemish, but well favored, and skillful in all wisdom, and cunning in knowledge, and understanding science, and such as had ability in them to stand in the king's palace.
So this is a science fair. In so many words. You know, you had a little smart nerd kids going to the science fair to battle each other with their knowledge and invention. This is what happened. The king's seed versus the Israelites. Go ahead.
And whom they might teach the learning and the tongue of the Chaldeans.
They might teach the learning and the tongue of the Chaldeans. We teaching something here. Go ahead.
And the king appointed them a daily provision of the king's meat, and of the wine which he drank, so nourishing them 3 years, that at the end thereof they might stand before the king.
So the king gonna take care of room and board in college for 3 years. That's all he's saying. Gonna take care and gonna put them up. But listen how the Israelite respond to this. Go ahead.
Now among these were of the children of Judah, Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah.
That's the name that the Israelite names right there. You know, the king changed their name to Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Go ahead.
Unto whom the prince of the eunuchs gave names. For he gave unto Daniel the name of Belteshazzar, and to Hananiah of Shadrach, and to Mishael, Meshach, and to Azariah, Abednego.
So they always change the Israelite name, just like they change our name today. That's why you got Charles. That's why you got James. That's why you got all these names in the Bible. They weren't Hebrew names. They changed them. They always change them over. But this is what he said here. Listen what Daniel said. Go ahead.
But Daniel proposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with the portion of the king's meat.
He's like, hold on, king, I don't eat that. You can have that. I deal with something else. Because Daniel knew the dietary law. The king didn't know. Go ahead.
Nor with the wine which he drank. Therefore he requested of the prince of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself.
Not defile himself to that stuff. Go ahead.
Now God had brought Daniel in favor and tender love with the prince of the eunuchs.
God had brought Daniel what? Favor. Tender love with the prince of the eunuchs. Israel always gonna get favor if you operating of the law. I experienced that. Favor. Stuff that come to me unannounced. Once I started putting my focus on God focus, man, I ain't had to worry about nothing. I'm just telling you from my experience. Once you focus on God, He gonna take care of all that little stuff. And it's gonna be little once you get into this book. But listen what happened. Jump down to verse 18. How they responded after those 3 years when the king put them up. Like, man, we don't need your stuff, king. We good. We rolling with God. We don't want you to think you did that for us. Go ahead.
Now at the end of the days that the king had said he should bring them in, then the prince of the eunuchs brought them before Nebuchadnezzar.
It's a time to get the checks and balance now. Who gonna be the smartest? Who gonna win the science fair? Go ahead.
And the king communed with them, and among them all was found none like Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Therefore stood they before the king.
They said it was none like Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. None like them. Why? Because they had the knowledge of God. Go ahead.
and in all matters of wisdom and in understanding, that the king inquired of them.
Now he started asking questions. You're like, man, these guys know something. They were very smart. How many of them coming to us asking us anything? You can't even point them to Genesis, half of the Israelites. You can't even point them to Isaiah. This is what people got to understand. You got to get God knowledge before he started entrusting people to follow you. Can't be standing up here preaching that you don't know what's going on. You can do that mess they got on Sunday. That's mess right there. But it's going to be a very few they're going to find it's true. When the circle gets smaller, I say, okay, yeah, it's getting better. I know it's hard to see. You don't want people to get destroyed, but they got to understand that, hey, this God is very meticulous about how to worship him, how to handle his business. Very meticulous. Picking up at 20 again.
And in all matters of wisdom and understanding, that the king inquired of them. He found them 10 times better than all the magicians and astrologers that were in all his realm.
He found them 10 times better than all of them. Go ahead.
And Daniel continued even unto the first year of King
Cyrus. Yes, sir. This is what he tells us right here, man. If we follow the ways of God, God gonna put that favor on you. God gonna make sure that once you slaves, that's why I look at who was that? Joseph, when he went in prison. Who they went in prison for 13 years? Joseph, yeah. So he didn't just sit in prison and just complain, whine, do whatever. He got in prison. He started exercising his gifts that God gave him, and he became the leader in prison. So when the time happened, he started answering all their problems. And then when the king had a problem, and the butler found out, hey, king gonna kill us if I don't tell him about this problem, they remember Joseph. And that's how he got to be second in ruler, because of his gifts. Because of his gifts. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 40, and I got one more after this, and we'll be done. Isaiah 40, in verse 17. Man, this God of Israel he's something serious. We ain't even got 1% of knowledge that we know about him. He just give us just a little bit. And a lot of people rejecting this history. Don't reject it. These gifts on the ship, man, we were gifts to these Gentiles and all these people on the scatter of the world. We built this whole world up, and we ain't get a dime for it. No reparations. But we're going to get a reparation in the last day, though. Let's look at something here. Isaiah chapter 40, verse 17. This God of Israel is something serious, but Jacob, he hard-headed, stiff-necked. He don't think this no good knowledge in here. Isaiah 40, verse what? 17?
Yes.
Go ahead, brother.
All nations before him are as nothing, and they are counted to him less than nothing, and vanity.
All nations before God is nothing. It counted as vanity. We ain't nothing. All nations. That's include Israel too. Go ahead.
To whom will ye liken God? Or what likeness will you compare unto him?
Like, who you gonna compare to God? Go ahead. Jumping out of verse 21. I'm just showing you that the God of Israel is the most powerful piece on the board. This Bible is the most powerful piece in its history, the most powerful piece that should be in your life. Hold to this. Verse 21. Go ahead.
Have you not known? Have you not heard? Hath it not been told you from the beginning? Have you not understood from the foundations of the earth? It is he that sitteth upon the circle of the earth, and that is inhabitants thereof are as grasshoppers.
Wait a minute. Is it he that sit upon the flat of the earth?
The circle of the earth.
We got an argument out here in these streets about the earth is round or the earth is flat. He said it is he that sit upon the circle of the earth. So what did I tell you? The earth is round. I believe me, there ain't no salvation issue. I don't even know why they arguing about it. But I want to point that out right there. He said, look, man, it is he that sit upon the circle of the earth. The inhabitants of there are like grasshoppers. And people ain't considering this. They don't understand the knowledge of God. Go ahead.
that stretch out the heavens as a curtain and spreadeth them out as a tent to dwell in.
Stretch out the heaven as a curtain. What that mean? He put the curtain out there, put stars, moons, planets, the solar system. Who can do that? I'm still looking for that string on the sun. I'm still looking for that string on the stars. He stretched forth all that stuff out there, and we don't know how he did it. You gonna try to tell me this God of this book fake? You go to hell by yourself. You ain't taking me with you. Go ahead.
23. That bringeth the princes to nothing. He maketh the judges of the earth as vanity.
So you got so much faith in these presidents. I wonder who's gonna be president. I hope Trump don't be president. Man, y'all so. Man, I get tired of this stuff. God said, I set up kings and take down kings. He does this. We don't elect nobody. Stop getting yourself involved with these foolish arguments. Oh, I wonder they're going to give us our food stamps. Go ahead.
Yeah, they shall not be planted. Yeah, they shall not be sown. Yeah, their stock shall not take root in the earth, and he shall not also blow upon them. And they shall wither, and the whirlwind shall take them away as stubble.
Do you understand what that means? He said he can blow on your finances. He can blow on your house to destroy it. Consider him. Consider his information in this book. Put him at the top of your list. I don't care if everybody leave you. Put God at one and let all the chips fall where they may. I ain't going to hell for nobody. Go ahead.
25. To whom then will you liken me, or shall I be equal, saith the Holy One?
He asking the question, who you going to liken to me? Who going to equal to me? Nobody. No information can equal to him. Go ahead.
Lift up your eyes on high, and behold who have created these things.
Sometimes people need to look up. Like I said before, that sun ain't went out in over 2,000 years of documenting history. And you gonna try to tell me, or try to tell me this God ain't real? Man, no. Say, oh, you can't burn forever, Jeff. That sun been burning for over 2,000 years that they documented history. It ain't went out. Go ahead.
Top of 26. Lift up your eyes on high, and behold who have created these things, that bringeth out their host by number. He calleth them all by names, by the greatness of his might, for that he is strong in power. Not one failed.
Wait a minute. The people inside the earth saying they can't even number the stars in heaven. God said he got every one of them stars by name. He know all the planets by name. God, boy, that's whoo. And you trying to say he can't help you and me. Come on, man. Go ahead.
Why sayest thou, O Jacob, and speakest, O Israel?
Talking to us. Go ahead.
My way is hid from the Lord, and my judgment is passed over from my God.
I wonder why they're hid. Because preachers like me standing up here ain't teaching the people about the God of Israel. They ain't teaching the history of it. All they teaching about is get blessed. You can have your stuff. All that stuff. They ain't teaching about how to please the God of keeping the Sabbath. How to please the God of understanding why our people went in slavery. Why we the last hire, where did I go? The first,
Last high, first five.
Y'all know what I'm talking about. We always get the bad end of the stick because of Deuteronomy chapter 28 and breaking the law. That he sent them ships and them gifts on the ship came back and did everything from everybody else. I ain't trying to hit you with that. But keep going.
Has thou not, verse 28, has thou not known, has thou not heard that the everlasting God, the Lord, the creator of the ends of the earth, fainteth not, neither is weary? There is no searching of his understanding.
Ooh, you trying to sit up there in your mind. I'm trying to sit up there in my mind trying to figure out God. He said there's no searching of his understanding. Stop trying to think something outside of this book. Just roll with the plan. Lord, I'm with you. If you tell me go down there, I'm going down there. Just roll with the plan. Because you can't search him out. You can't figure him out. Go ahead.
He giveth power to excuse me. He giveth power to the faint.
He giving power to who?
To the faint.
You faint now, Israel. But you think Donald Trump gonna do you good? You think Biden gonna do you good? You think Obama gonna do you good? No, he give power to the faint. You go to the God of Israel. Go ahead.
And to them that have no might, he increaseth
We
strength.
ain't got no might, do we?
Mm.
We ain't got, as a nation, we ain't got no might, nothing. We got to have this favor of God. Like I say, favor ain't fair, but I got it. Go ahead.
Even the youth shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall utterly fall.
Ooh, they sure falling today, boy. Because the old heads ain't teaching them. And half the time, I don't blame no heads. They kind of scared of these jokers. They'll turn on you real quick. You say something to them that they don't like. Go ahead.
31. But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength.
Ooh, wait on him.
They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint.
He said, they that wait upon the Lord. You got so many people that sit in the congregation of Israel, like me and brother were talking about being baptized, and they left. They left because they ain't got time for that no more. I've been waiting for my blessing to come in, this and that. A lot of times, God don't give you stuff. Read James chapter 4:1. He said, because I don't give you this, because you're going to ask for it in the midst, you're going to mess it up. And ultimately, it will kill you, hurt you on your lust. But so many people that ran out there to the world, I don't know, I got to get my life back. That God of Israel stuff just taking me over. It's supposed to. It's supposed to. You're supposed to lay your life down and pick up God, pick up the cross of God. The cross is talking about all the hardships you're going to go through, and I'm going to go through when we trying to deliver this book to the people. Romans chapter 3:1, last chapter. But Israel don't know. They don't care. Oh, you just too much. Okay. Last time I checked this Bible, he said, except your righteousness exceed the righteousness of the scribes and the Pharisees, you won't enter into this kingdom. We ain't doing enough. Romans chapter 3:1. Let's look at the advantage of understanding these gifts on the ship, man, and what we went through. We ain't a bunch of Negroes that ignorant can't understand. We some of the most adaptive people in this world. We can adapt to any situation because we done been in every bad situation. That's why you don't find most Israel trying to kill themselves because they lose some money or because they lose a house or a job. You know what they say? Oh, well, forget it. I can do it again. But you let the other nation lose that money, oh, they want to kill everybody. They want to jump out the window. They want to do all this stuff. And guess what's happening now? Israel start taking them same characteristics on now. Because they got spoiled. Then they got comfortable. Man, you are not no Gentile. You still Israel. I don't care how much money you got. Romans chapter 3:1. Go ahead, bro.
What advantage then hath the Jew, or what profit there, and what profit is there of the circumcision?
It's an advantage, man. What advantage do you have as a Jew? What profit of the circumcision? Next verse going to answer what he just said. Go ahead.
Much every way, chiefly because that unto them were committed the oracles of God.
That's the advantage. Oracles, answers. He done gave it to you. He done gave it to me. Once we read this book, he giving it to us. How to please him. How to conduct yourself. How to conduct yourself in his body. How you conduct yourself in praising him, worshiping, everything he done gave us. Most chiefly because Israel has the answers. The ones that study this book. Go ahead.
Well,
you got
verse
real
3.
comfortable. Verse 3, go ahead.
Verse 3. For what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make their faith of God without effect?
That's a question. People always around your family members, your wife, your husband, your daughter, your kid. Why are you always doing about that God of Israel? I don't care if you don't care. I believe. I believe. I don't care who say what. I believe. Listen what God said, how to respond to them about saying that they don't believe. Go ahead.
God forbid. Yea, let God be true, but every man a liar, as it is written, that thou mightest be justified in thy sins, and mightest overcome when thou art judged.
See, that's what you're shooting for. He telling you right there. He said, hey man, God forbid. God be true, every man a liar. How can you tell a person a liar? 1 John chapter 2 just says, if the one that not teaching this commandment is a liar, and the truth is not in him. That's how you can distinguish between a liar of God, a liar of the truth, and you can make sure you can understand a believer because they keep these commandments. And I thank you for your time. Gifts on the ship, man. Keep it going, man. Keep it going. Because something happened to me, I want y'all to keep this going. All right, Jane. I'm going to read the announcement, take up the offering. You got anything you want to give? Man, I'm trying to steal my pen.
Here at the House of Israel, we have a dress code. Men and boys, no tank tops, flip-flops, shorts, muscle shirts, sagging pants, hats, ripped jeans. If the jeans are ripped without showing skin, they are okay. Slides. Women and girls, no slides, tank tops, halter tops, low-cut blouses, leggings, bodysuits, ripped jeans, no cleavage showing, no bra strap showing, no short skirts or dresses. Be mindful of your dressing. There are no short skirts or dresses. Be mindful of your dresses and skirts because when you sit down, they can come up and show your thighs. This can be a distraction from the lesson. There will be no cross-dressing. Men should not wear women clothing, nor women wearing men clothing. If this happens, you will be asked to leave until you can dress appropriately. Romans 12:1. Present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. Cell phones and tablets. If you are using one during the lesson, please make sure you are not on anything that isn't pertaining to the lesson. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, etc. And back to the reminder. Also, if anyone needs prayer, let Pastor Jeff know.
Read the feast day next, about the Passover and the feast day of unleavened bread indeed.
Right here at the House of Israel, Holy Days 2023. The Lord's Passover beginning Tuesday, April 4th, 2023 at sundown and ends Wednesday, April 5th, 2023 at sundown. Service time Tuesday, April 4th, 2023 at 8 p.m.
Yes, sir. That's going to be the first time, we're going to kick off the feast days, the holy day, on every day evening, April 4th at sundown, 8 o'clock. It should be dark then. But just want to read that off. Go ahead.
All right. The first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread begins on Wednesday, April 5th, 2023 at sundown and ends on Thursday, April 6th, 2023.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Take off work on Thursday, April 6th, 2023. Service time will be announced.
Yes, sir. We're going to figure out the service time after that. Normally be around 2, 1 or 2, mainly 2. But I just want to make sure that everybody understand what you're supposed to be doing and praising God, which is we're keeping the Sabbath day, we're keeping the holy day, we're keeping the dietary law. These are things that are being accounted for our salvation, man. Our report card need to have all A's on it. Because we open the books up, put them in. That's what I want him to do for me. Well done, my good and faithful servant. And that's what that's the goal. That's the goal. Make sure you're doing enough. Not just showing up for the Sabbath class when you ministering to people outside of here. The Sabbath class just to charge us up to go fight the world and try to win souls. This is what we're supposed to do. All right, we're going to stand and close out. Corey on the clock.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, my brother.
Yes, sir. Repeat after me. Our Father which art in heaven,
Our Father which art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done in earth
Thy will be done in earth
as it is in heaven.
as it is in heaven.
Give us this day
Give us this day
our daily bread,
our daily
and
bread,
forgive us our debts,
and forgive us our
as
debts
we forgive our debtors.
as we forgive our
And
debtors.
lead us not into temptation,
And lead us not into temptation,
but deliver us from evil.
but deliver us from evil.
For thou is the kingdom,
Thine is kingdom
and the power,
and the power
and the glory,
and the glory.
forever. Amen.
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord God of Israel. Who's the king? Who's the king? What is the whole duty of man? What is the whole duty of man? Hallelujah. Hallelujah. In Jesus' mighty name. Amen.